Hey there loves, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 3 easy and delicious brunch recipes that can also be used for meal prepping. So if you're interested, then stay tuned. For our first recipe, we're going to be making some breakfast casserole or egg casseroles or baked eggs or egg bites or whatever you guys want to call it, because you can definitely use a muffin pan to make egg bites with this exact recipe. And I love making this for brunches because my husband loves it, number one, and number two, it's easy to make and also very easy to store, and you can store it in your fridge or your freezer for up to 3 weeks. So in the fridge for about, I would say, 3 to 4 days to keep it safe. That's just me personally. I don't like to keep food too long. And then in the freezer, you can keep it up to 3 weeks. So I'm going to start off by cutting up some veggies. Use whatever vegetables you like. If you don't like onions, do not use onions. So I'm going to cut up some onions and some bell peppers, and I'm going to start assembling my baking pan. And like I said, you guys can also use a muffin pan instead. Next, I'm going to be cutting up some broccoli. I'm using frozen broccoli, but of course you guys can use fresh broccoli if you want. You would just have to pre-boil it first. So I'm going to cut up some broccoli and add that. Use whatever other vegetables you want. If you want mushrooms, you can also use that. If you don't want vegetables at all, you don't have to use any vegetables. But we love broccoli in this house, so we're adding some broccoli to ours. But add whatever vegetables you like. I'm also going to add some salami. I'm just cutting up some salami into tiny little bits. You can also use bacon bits if you want to, or whatever protein you want, whatever meat you want. You can use some ground sausage or ground beef. Is really nice as well. But like I said, choose whichever meat you like the best and add it into that, or no meat at all. Next, I'm going to be seasoning my egg mix. I know a lot of persons don't season their eggs, so it is personal preference, but if you guys would like to know the exact seasonings I used salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of chili flakes, a little bit of parsley, as well as dry chives. You don't have to season your eggs, and you can also just use salt and pepper if you prefer, but I like to season my eggs, so that's exactly what I used. I also like to add a little bit of milk to my egg mix because it just makes it fluffy. I think I've heard persons say they use water before, but I prefer milk. I'm also going to add some cheese. If you don't eat dairy, then don't use cheese, as well as the milk in the egg mix. For our second recipe, we're going to be making some candy bacon. Yes, you heard me correct. We're making some candy bacon. This is sweet as well as spicy, and the little saltiness from the bacon, it is delicious. Once again, remember guys that I'm putting overlays of the recipes for you guys on the screen. So if you want the exact recipe, pause the video and screenshot it, or pause it and write it down. This is simple and so delicious. And one more thing I would like to mention about all of these recipes are that all of them use the exact temperature in the oven, so you can just make them ahead, set them aside, and bake all of them at the same time. The time frame may vary a bit, especially for the egg casserole, but all of them use the same temperature. For our final recipe, we're going to be making some pizza roll-ups. If you guys love to meal prep your breakfast, this is perfect, especially if you have kids. I'm using a store-bought pizza dough, but of course I do love to make my pizza dough myself. It's just that I knew that I was going to be making a lot of recipes back to back, and I did not want to overwhelm myself. But I do have a pizza dough recipe. If you guys are interested in it, I will link it down below for you guys, as well as the recipe to my marinara sauce. Of course, once again, the toppings are personal preference. If you don't want a marinara sauce, you can definitely use an Alfredo sauce and add seafood on it as well. That is really, really delicious. So if you use the Alfredo sauce, I would say use shrimp or fish like salmon and whatnot. That is really delicious. But of course, use whatever toppings you guys prefer. If you want all veggies, some spinach with mushrooms as well as bell peppers and onions, they go really well together. So you have a plethora of different options when it comes to your toppings. I'm going to be rolling my pizza from the short end because I want it to be thicker and I also want less pieces. So if you want thinner and more pieces, you just roll it from the long end over. So I'm going to just pinch the dough together so it doesn't fall apart, and then I'm going to cut my pieces and rest them on my baking sheet. Everything is going in the oven at the same time at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and the pizza roll ups as well as the bacon pieces take about 12 to 15 minutes depending on the thickness of your bacon, and the egg lasts about 20 to 25 minutes in the oven. So everything goes in one time. Isn't that perfect? So time to assemble our charcuterie board or our breakfast board, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to make it as pretty as I possibly can. We have reached the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this cook with me, aka intimate brunch setup. If you did, please remember to give your girl a big thumbs up, comment down below because I like talking to you guys, as well as subscribe if you have not subscribed as yet, and I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, cheers.